All right, that's enough. It's enough. We can't play any more Dragon Ball Z soundtrack. These are the Philharmonics. These are the HT Towers. HT standing for home theater, which this kind of is, so it's appropriate. I am using them in 2-channel mode. I got the Galleon Acoustics TS, the A75 amplifier running these, and they're $4,500 a pair. Leave if that's too much money. It's my advice as a daddy audiophile is to tell everybody if that's too much, leave. Fucking leave. Only watch things you could afford, which will be like 4 things on this channel, unfortunately. Just the way time works. And that's another thing. I want to address this before we move on. Zeos, why don't you review a bunch of cheap shit anymore? Because there's too much cheap shit, and most of it is shit. And the things that I found that are already amazing, like the Mica MB42X G2s and the RB42s, do you need more choice in passive, cheap speakers than 2? Just get one of those. But the problem is when you have the money, when you have grown up and you've gotten a job and you're starting to save and maybe you've got a house and you're like, I got a nice basement and I got like X amount of dollar dues to spend. That's when it gets hard. When you're broke, it's easy. Buy this cheap shit because it's great. Chaos KPH40s, Mica speakers, you need self-powered, you get the little Edifier MR4s. Great stuff. Super cheap. This is where it gets hard, because all of a sudden your money can do many things. So like $4,500 is not a little bit of money. That's a good chunk. And if you've never heard of Philharmonic, well, here's the thing. I learned about it years ago. I've known about it for 10 years. I've never actually gotten to review anything from Philharmonic. Philharmonic started out as a guy who would take the Pioneer BS21s and 22s. Who remembers those? Little towers they did. I forget what the model number of the towers were. The super fucking cheap, affordable Pioneer sup. And it was built beautifully. And had little drivers, and it was okay, but they didn't sound like they were okay. Like, it was good. It was okay. I would pick Fluence over them, or Micas over them. But what Philharmonic did is he took those, he pulled out the crossover, designed his own crossover, and would mod them in. And that's how Philharmonic started. It's much like the Mr. Speakers, which is now Dan Clark Audio story. Where they take Fostex headphones that are kind of just okay. In fact, if it hasn't come out in this channel yet, I do have the 50th anniversary T50 Mark IVs. And it's going to be a similar story where they're good enough, but I'm sure Ryan Dietz at Modhouse will literally take it, shove it down his pants, and pull out Argon T50 Mark IV 50th anniversaries, and it's going to be the greatest fucking headphone of all time, minus his tungsten. But the point is, Philharmonic was a guy who just modded existing speakers, and he sold kits, and he sold instructions on how to do this, and so on and so forth. And fast forward from the time I first heard of him to now, and now this is a $4,500 pair of speakers that has won like Audioholic's Best Speaker of the Year. And you can tell this is someone who started in the dirt, just fixing, shitty Chinese Pioneer speakers, and then coming out to like, holy, like, are those purified drivers? Those are. You see, if you remember, because they're sitting on the floor over there, I've got the 10th anniversary Buchart. A10 for 10th anniversary, and they use a purified driver in each of those. That speaker, that little self-powered speaker, those are $4,000, and they use one. These are $4,500, are towers, and use 2. Well, they use 4 total, but those are, and you could talk to anyone who's an enthusiast about building speakers, these are the top of the line. This weird shape that this is around here, and the capabilities and the low-end capabilities. Like, the Bucharts are able to do like 39 hertz in a sealed box because they're self-powered, DSP corrected, and using these drivers. So now, let's put 4 of them on the floor, and we'll put them in a box that was designed by a man who's just been modifying and changing things forever, and you get these. So now, all right, I don't know where to start with this. The fact that these are home theater tower speakers. By the way, that's a bat. She's got a little bat ear clip. I know you're all going to be confused, Mike. Is it a cat? No tail. Bat. The thing about these speakers, only the real important information here on Z Reviews, is first of all, they don't have grills. And of all the speakers I have that, like, I don't think they need grills, how many fucking triangles and stuff, I kind of think these need a grill. Because this whole top section, which is very odd, by the way, Mundorf tweeter. It says Mundorf. Even though it says proprietary tweeter, that says Mundorf. This top bit, which is a very tiny MTM, mid-range tweeter, mid-range MTM, is kind of ugly. And it like doesn't fit. Like, I absolutely appreciate the fact that I get to see more of this beautiful finish. It's raining. Why does it... What do I hear rain? Here. Why does it sound like it's raining in my basement? Pause for a second. Well, I checked it out, and it just sounds like it's raining on the plastic in my basement, but there's no water, so we're going to continue along. This is home ownership. Never heard it quite rain. Point is, for the looks, they are a beautiful... I mean, look at the... look. I did take out my piano cleaner, which I bought from my Broadman speakers, and I gave it like a little wipe down. But, I mean, I could review in the reflection on these. Hi. Almost to the fact that it's a little bit too dark a finish, and I kind of want it to be brighter. Like, I feel like I need to bring... I mean, I've got some fucking lights on here right now. But I feel like I almost want it to be brighter, so I could see more of the wood grain, because it just looks like a black mirror, which I have never played or watched the show. And it is pouring right now. And it's crazy. Anyway. So they look fantastic from an audiophile that takes off the girl's presentation. But unlike the Mons, which have like no hardware exposed, and you're here for this, you know, machined aluminum fascia. This has got a fuckload of hardware. We've got 6 screws here and 4 here. That's 10, and that's 14. Then we got 6 around there, and 6 is 12. It's 12, 14. It's like there's 26 screws, and I could see them all. And there's nothing wrong with that. As a man and an audiophile, I'm all about this. But for some reason, I just want like a little, like maybe 2 grills you could put here, just because I think it would just look. And that makes me you just like Zeos, you've lost all credibility. You should want to put grills on something. Because I mean, I love these. I love these swans. Look, oh God. I should really clean these and put them back on. But occasionally I'm like, you know what? You're very nice, but I just want to just this is like here. Oh, not that big, obviously, but look, just so you can get a taste, a flavor of what's behind the scenes. And then put that back. It's narrower. All right, so that's my assessment of the looks. I was hoping these were bi-wireable, so I could play with this section separate from that section, but it is not. And you'll know why. You can see there just has a massive port back there. Like a Fistable Port. Hold on. Yeah, no, I could... Literally, my fist in that port, that's rare. Let me tell you, I've tried to fist a lot of ports in my day, and very few can actually do it. This is actually a transmission line. It's a mass-loaded transmission line, capable of 38 hertz. Let's put music on, because we're bored. Zeos, I don't want to hear you fucking talk about this pretty speaker. Make the sounds come out. Perfect. Okay, that's the Prodigy Medicine. Perfect. As a home theater speaker, these are capable of 105 dB at 1 meter with 0.3 distortion, I believe is the percentage. Not 1, not 3, 0.3. So they have been designed specifically, and this is the wildest part. These are not the music focused speaker. Go to the website and he makes music focused. The monitor, the BMR monitor is the music focused one. I heard them at, Leo, if you are around, I'm not sure if this video is coming out before it. It might be. But Leo is doing another Orchard Audio. There's the Orchard Audio amp, the Starkwinston Ultra. He's doing an open house in Rockaway, New Jersey on, I think, the 17th of August, 2024. If you're a patron, you're seeing this before then. The guy who loaned me these brought the BMRs there, and then he brought these here, and I'm just like, all right, I'll give these a review. And then, by the way, leave the BMRs here. So It's a great place to network if you want to go meet people. It's at the Rockaway listening room on the 17th of August. There'll be a Facebook link in the description. Anyway. So, I tried them in many locations, close to me, far away. I tried them parallel, like I like the Mons. These are set up for working right now. This is how I like them. Parallel to each other and as far apart as possible. These don't do that. In fact, even though I looked at the measurements, and the measurements are absurd. There's like 9 measurements here, measurements here. According to that, they are perfectly fine on every axis. I like them specifically the most when I am sitting dead center and they are pointed at me. Just give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. Next track. Okay, you can hear in music why these were won all the audiophile, the audio fucking things ever, because they are a very well put together speaker. Like, I don't know if these show up at like the shows like Capital Audio Fest or I would say Exotica. If these showed up at Exotica, it would give me a reason to go besides thoughts. But if these showed up at Expona and like had a big room and they made a big fuss about it, these would be one of the best sounding speakers at any of these audio shows. You can just tell. You sit here and you're like, all right, hold on. I can't play Ava Cassidy, Nightbird much more because we're on YouTube and it sucks here. All right, that is loud. We are coming off of the topping DX9 with a long set of XLRs to the Galleon, and we got 17 more dB of headroom. At least on that, it would kill you. These will kill you. It's gonna get loud right there. So, these, I don't think any other speaker has skirted the line between Audiophilia and Hometheateria. Is that a thing? What is a Hometheateria called? Because audio, is it still Audiophile? But then it's multi-channel, so it's multi-file? I don't know. We shouldn't add too many more files to this goddamn hobby. Anyway, these skirt the line where if I sit here and I listen to just straight music, just Ava Cassidy and The Prodigy and... this is Farts Are Jazz to Assholes from Fat Wreck Chords from the album Short Music for Short People, which are only 30-second songs, and there was 99 of them on the disc. This shit came out years ago and I hate everything on it, but yet it's in my playlist, and that's all I will play. If you want 100 songs that are 30 seconds long by bands, well, mostly grungy bands, I think Blink-182 and stuff were on it, also Green Day, but yeah. Point is, they are doing quality. Like, if I pull out, I'm not going to say this is a good or bad example, but if I slide the curtain over a little bit and I go, ooh, Klipsch. Ooh, well, Aperion Towers are probably the only that come close. Because the Aperion Towers, which are also $4,000, by the way, might end up in the yard sale at some point because they're just sitting back there. Those weren't as pretty. As much as I'm like complaining about the front of these, those were as nice a finish, but just the most bland black fascia ever. Home theater requires, all right, these. Hi, girls, these. These are home theater speakers. These are the best home theater speakers I've ever used. They're here. Klipsch sent it to me. Klipsch, I got to reach out and get my new contact because my old contact left for other things and I haven't been able to reach Klipsch in like a year. But Klipsch is my baby. Every theater I have, from the $5,000 set of Fortes up in the sunroom to the Heresies in that theater to these THX 5000s in this theater, these are home theater speakers. They don't go below 80 hertz, and that tweeter is correct in its verticality because there's 3 of them and they're all vertical. And when you sit down, it literally has, this is the right channel, this is the center channel, this is the left channel. And you can hear when everything is just, oh, perfect. But if you go to play just music on this speaker, and I have tried that, when they're not even up here, when they're in like another location, and they only go down to 80 hertz, so they kind of need a sub. But even then, they fucking suck for music. They suck. Big dicks. Maybe even small. All dicks. They suck all dicks for music. They just aren't tuned for it. They don't have that delivery. And I didn't think that was a thing. I was like, well, if you're building a home theater, just get a good speaker and you'll be fine. But those so since they're that big, the size of a microwave, and just little fives, and they're sealed, and they could take so much abuse and punishment. And when Top Gun plays, Top Gun Maverick, or the volleyball scene, or not the volleyball scene, is up to you. I don't know what you're watching. And the jets are just like, fuck, you know that you're not going to blow them up. These have that. I know I'm not going to blow them up. I know I can turn them up and I can get that like visceral earth-shaking experience. And I'm not super concerned. And you want to know the reason? So the reason is obviously, they're built this way. There is a specific reason. The crossover is one of the reasons I'm not worried about blowing them up. These little tiny flat, and they call them radiators, which got me confused as to like, are they powered or is there a speaker? But no, they are actual little drivers. The crossover points between that and this are listed on the site. And there's a problem I was coming up with these set of speakers having to do with music and using them as a straight 2.0 home theater. You see, when I sit down and I listen to my Mons, which are right there, and they're not in their custom stands yet. They're sending me some lifters for the custom stands. And I sit and I'm ear level with those tweeters. The imaging is an arc. If Ava Cassidy's singing, or if great realistic war sounds, we could actually play this and just let this run on those. But when I'm listening to music and someone's singing on the Mons, it arcs up and I can hear vocals. So the vocals ideally would be perfectly in line, but they're a little bit higher, and that's fine. And if I got the clips, they're in the center because that's where it is, but there is a center channel there, so it doesn't matter. Most speakers I put here arc up as to where the vocals come from, where the centering comes from, but not these. And we're getting back around to why they work for home theater at the volumes they do and why this problem exists. The crossover point for those expensive, we're looking at 24 if they're paying retail, which I doubt they're paying full retail. But if those were $700 a piece, those drivers, that's $800 out of the $4,500 is material costs. So you have these massively expensive, exceedingly capable drivers. You're not going to let them do 200 and below. They're not supposed to be the subwoofer. They're doing a large 700 hertz is a lot. And the problem comes, I love that this is just playing in the background. This is off a YouTube video, by the way, Squad Realistic War Sound. Just look for that in YouTube, because when I want to test if a headphone can do gaming and I'm just too lazy to start one, I'll just sit back for 14 minutes and be like, this is terrifying. Like this on Eris is fucking hilarious. But the point is, at 700 hertz, which, by the way, this is very loud, and I wouldn't do this to normally like an audiophile speaker, just let it play explosions. But these don't give a shit. So those speakers are doing their damnedest to produce everything 700 and down. Like, did you see that movement? They are doing a lot. And these are barely doing anything. They're obviously where a good deal of the sound comes from. You got everything from, I think, 700 to 3,800. That's the mid-range. That's a chunk. And that's coming out of these very small, very fast drivers, which the owner who dropped these off also said the smaller the driver, the better they are at dispersion. I forget the exact thing he said. He'll comment, I'm sure. But these are hilariously small compared to those. So those are picking up a lot of the weight. And then these are filling in, obviously, the rest. And the problem when it comes to Audiophilia, and not explosion, 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 is that... Wait. Aw, cool, my gang. Not a good song for testing this, though. Love this song, but not to just show off my point. Show my point. Show my point. Show my point. Show my point. Where... Does anybody sing in my music? Jesus, Paul Simon is just hitting me. Let's jump ahead in Paul Simon. So if I'm sitting down in my normal area, and those tweeters are perfectly eye level, in case you're wondering. They're higher than the Mons even. So in my mind, I'm expecting to hear just this beautiful vocals coming right from underneath her elbow. The Batgirl's elbow. But... well, the sun gets weary and the sun goes down. What? Why is he singing out of my fireplace? Alright, it's not quite the fireplace, but it's here. This is where the vocals are happening. Because it's not here where I would normally hear this arc. It's instead down here because a bulk, 700 hertz is a lot, is coming from those lower drivers. So this whole thing is a mix. Now someone told me, oh, you got to be further away, Zeos. I'm like 11 feet away. This is not that big a speaker that I need to be 20 feet away from it. But all of this is singing Paul Simon right now. All of it. And in fact, I had on a song, it was a Nine Inch Nails song, and, you know, Trent Reznor's in my ear whispering, you should kill somebody, because that's what Trent Reznor did back in the day. And it was coming out of just the left channel. And when I was looking at the speaker to say, where is Trent Reznor whispering to me? It was right here. You would think this would be the center of vocals, but these are not subwoofers. These are part of the whole structure. So all of this is Trent Reznor speaking to me, and if he's whispering and he's got a deeper voice, it's going to be moving further down. This is the center point of the speaker, which lines up perfectly with here, which is where I'm hearing it, which was making me lose my fucking mind. That's the reason. There's a crossover point at 700, so they could use more of these expensive, exceedingly good drivers. My only problem with these speakers, other than not having a beautiful grill, which probably you could 3D print to make it really look nice, and I wish someone would, you know, offer that for Philharmonic. Maybe I'll do it. I don't know how to 3D print. But for orchestral stuff, not really that big a deal. I'm not looking for the height. I mean, there should be a centering thing, but it's the Monogatari, so I can't. I'm watching the new season of Monogatari, the off monster one. It is so fucking good. Like this. This isn't going to make a big problem. First of all, these tones, which is a Stella by Moore from Yoko Kanno, these are very high, shrill sounds, and they're going to be mostly centered up here, and we're going to get perfectly fine imaging. But as soon as you hit up, and I can't believe I'm just blanks, shooting blanks over here. Here we go. Actually, that's such a big sound. This is a Don Quixote CD that I found on the internet, which I then purchased, obviously, with money. And it wasn't actually I Am Lord Don Quixote, the Man of La Mancha. It was like someone reading Don Quixote in Italian in like a church basement with really good microphones. So occasionally I will try to learn Italian by just being like... Someone playing also a fucking piccolo, or whatever the hell... Not piccolo. What is the little guitar? The little guitar, that thing. Just playing that. It's just all echoey nonsense. But my God, the staging. By the way, that on Eris also is absurd. So there's my one problem. They're $4,500. I think they're worth it. The fact that they come from a very small site with like a single person doing everything. By the way, here are all the fucking madness measurements. But like Audioholic's product of the year 2023, using our finest drivers, blah, 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 blah. Useful output at 32 hertz and flat to 38. I believe it. I believe it. Here's the other finish, by the way, which is not as nice. It's just, I like this one. I wish this was a little bit brighter with that shine, but that is not a shiny speaker. That could be a speaker from the 80s. It just doesn't appeal to me as much. These, by the way, are 55 pounds each. They are 4 ohms with a 10 ohms maximum. So they do average lower, but again, they're based off of they're literally a guy's speaker, and they're not designed for everyone to use because Samsung is making them. These are a speaker that needs you to pay attention. These are an audiophile speaker. So dual Purify 6.5s, balance mode radiator, and a proprietary air motion transformer, which I'm assuming Mundorf makes for them with their specs. And they're good from 38 hertz to 20,000, measured plus plus 1.5 to minus 3. So not even plus or minus 3. Plus 1.5. So to 3 in an anechoic chamber with a sensitivity of 90, and they're a mass-loaded transmission line, blah, 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 blah. And it's just, and like you look at the measurements, and I'm not a huge measurement guy, and this is a useless graph because that is a horizontal line because that's what these are designed to be. They just go forever, or they cut off here at 200 because they don't want to show past that. But these are, like, that's what you'd see from a corrected speaker after, you know, running it in a million times through a DSP. These are just doing that by default. I have no music where people singing in it, and I don't want to hear the White Stripes. I mean, I guess I want to hear the White Stripes. Fine. He's actually coming from... He's coming from, like, there. This is one of those songs where it's like The Doors, and The Doors usually someone sings in the left or someone sings in the right. He's singing over there, down on the floor. Get off the floor, Jack White from the White Stripes. So, music, my concern would be that the centering is weird. But you don't have to worry about that in home theater. If you're using just these, you kind of do. Because if you're using just these in a home theater environment, like I was watching anime on them or I was watching a movie on them, just these, just stereo without anything, and then your imaging is just too fucking low. I was considering, I didn't actually do this, and I'm not going to have time to because he's picking these up in the end of the week. I was going to get bricks and just raise the whole fucking speaker up, like a foot up. Not a little bit up. I tried leaning them back. I tried leaning them and shoving things onto the front. So they were dangerously close to falling into the wall, even though they're a borrowed speaker, and I shouldn't have done that. But I was like, I got to know. Maybe if I adjust the timing between the fucking 6.5s and that, it'll like twist the sound, and it didn't do it. These would have to go. If you wanted to use just these, you have to just take into account that that line is where your TV needs to be, or more likely, your TV could be at a normal height. This is actually too high. If I was making this just a TV room, that would be lower. But you just have to raise the speakers up. Just to accommodate where the center would be. But like I said, in a home theater, that doesn't fucking matter because you're going to have a center channel. Do they sell a center? You know what? That's a fine question, Zeos. Speakers. So they make there it is. They do make the center channel version of this. Holy $1,500. I bet. I hashtag bet that sounds fucking bizarrely good. In fact, without even having it here and listening to these speakers and knowing what this guy is capable of, buy that. Just buy that. Sight unseen. New customers bundling the home theater center with any towers, two pair will receive a $200 discount. Fuck. Previous owners can request a coupon code. Yeah, no, this is other dumb. It doesn't use the same drivers. It uses 5 1/4s, but I mean, you could also get it in mirror black. That's a thick boy center channel. That is no joke center channel. So I mean, yeah, this is what's going to take over your center vocals because most movies, when you put it in movie mode, is just like this is just effects and music for sound effects. And that's fine. That's why I don't care how that does. Because the center channel, which is just another one of those, does vocals phenomenally. So yeah, my only concern with these speakers, honestly, like I was saying, the fact that I know the origins of the company and where that $4,500 is going, right there. It's going right into these fucking drivers. This is worth it. This is if you want to have a cool story to tell people about your expensive speakers, you buy Philharmonic speakers. Because you'd be like, the guy, Phil Harmonic. I think his name is actually Phil. I think that might be the case. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but you should change your name to Phil. So you'd be like, Phil Harmonic. It'd be cool if his last name became Harmonic. I wonder if you could change that legally. That would be weird, though. Anyway. Lyra Lynn. He said, I love you, baby. This is the best home theater speaker. Period. That's also a speaker for audio, but you got to deal with that low centering thing. That's it. That's the only negative I have for it. I want some pretty ass grills just to cover these bits to make them look nice. Actually, if you made just one piece, it would look like a handle and a paddle. Photo irrelevant to the situation. Yeah. I don't know what else I could tell you about them. Single connection in the back, so you can't separate it because it's too much being shoved down there. The tweeter is just, I mean, imaging, stellar. The only thing I had to figure out was that I pointed them at me. Usually in this room, I go parallel forever and then just slide forward and backwards and do this sort of thing. And then I was like, tilt, 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 toe, toe. And then I towed it like straight at me. I'm like, there they are. They're perfect. I'm pretty sure I could swing them around now. As long as they're pointed at me, I could bring them as far out as I wanted. I have them on furniture sliders, by the way. They're on, I think he added these feet. I'm not sure if these are the stock feet, but there are the ISO acoustics feet are on these. And then those are on top of furniture sliders, which is probably removing all the benefits. But you know, these are one of those $4,000 speakers. It's like, oh, obviously. Like, I don't have to even convince, well, fucking Purify drivers are like $600 or $700 each. So, obviously. And then this finish is just like hi everyone. I haven't had a shave or a haircut since I got back from London. Actually, since before London, because my barber was closed. And now my barber was closed and I had COVID. So I'm just like, now I'm looking like a hairy beast. These are great. They do the impressive things that I want a speaker of this caliber to do. And that's it. And then, by the way, you can play them so fucking loud because you can put movies on it. Like the fact that they could have easily just never mentioned the HT part of this and just went, it's our speaker. And then someone could have asked, can I use this for home theater? And they went, oh, well, sure you can. In fact, they are very, very capable and competent. But instead, they marked them as home theater, which might make some of you go like, well, I don't want to buy a home theater speaker for $4,500. You're not. You're just buying one of his speakers that just happens to be capable of being exceedingly loud. Can't play any monogatari, no. There you go, Maul. That's some Kevin Penkin shit right there. Let's just, I don't know, what do we have this on now? 12? Just let the music play in my head. Yeah, you can get so just, like if you're one of those people who just doesn't like neighbors or wants to like liquefy them through the wall, here you go, sold. Anyway, that's it for this. I'm going to try to get the sound demo done before the owner comes to pick them up. It's going to be an interesting one. I'm going to have to play real quiet. So yeah, I like it. It feels different. It feels like someone's passion project just evolved over time. When I get the BMRs here, just the straight music ones, we'll have a good time with those as well. So congratulations. This is my first pair of Philharmonics that I've ever had a chance to review. If you've known about them, if you heard about them back in the day, did you ever buy a set? Because I think his modded, the reason I never did any of them was it was like the $150 Pioneers became like $450. And I'm like, $300 extra, that's too much. But he was building entire crossover networks that just fucking changed the entire shape of how they functioned, which is a great way to do things. If you want to build race cars, you don't start from this ground up building race cars. You take in people's Honda Civics and old Corvettes, and you twist the insides around for $20,000, and bam, $100,000 race car comes out of the thing. That's what he did with speakers. So now these are all his own designs. These are basically, it's the Mr. Speakers who never made speakers, Dan Clark Audio. This is like the equivalent of the Ethers coming out after he's been modifying nothing but Fostex. It's like, by the way, I made these. Bam. So wallpaper in the wallpaper horde. Patreon, subscribe to support this channel. I'm not sure what the date is, but the Magia cable should have come out on APOS. Should have said this at the beginning of the video because no one's back. No one's here. Hi. Hi, 4 people. Hello. Magia cable is out on APOS if you want to get a replacement cable for any of your headphones. They've offered many things. Patreon, subscribe star. $5 a month. Support this channel. Love of God. See reviews early. See all IM reviews for free. You don't even have to pay. Just go there and you can see IM reviews that I haven't released yet for free. Participate in yard sales 1st to the 10th of every month. Loss of sound demos, which I will be making for this. And I could use whatever wallpapers I want because they're not on YouTube. So hold on. Join Patreon. See reviews early. Participate in yard sales. Loss of sound demos. Q&A. There's a $5 Q&A question that once a month I put a Q&A question up. Anything in the comments I will answer on a video that is public on Patreon and subscribe. So if you want to see the previous responses, you can go there and watch that for free. I might do tier lists. I hate them. But there might be a Patreon only thing. And then if that gets people to go there, they'll fucking do it. And $10 a month puts you in the behind the scenes private Telegram chat with another 180 people who just love to talk about audio way more than I do, but I will answer your questions directly there. And once you're in that channel, you're in a lifetime swap meet channel to buy, sell, and trade gear, because everybody's got to sell something and everyone wants to buy something. And audiophiles just I think audiophiles more than any other hobby buy and sell more than it's in any other hobby. Like train collectors maybe buy, but never sell. Audio people are like, I listened to this for 6 months. It's brand new. Give me half price for it so I could try something new. That's audiophile. So that's why the Swap Me channel is so cool. Anyway, I'm done, you're done, she's done, and she's a bat. Thank you for stopping by and subscribe and do all the other shit.